Hey, happy Wednesday. Welcome to today's podcast. My name is Tami Gomez. I am your favorite life coach and manifesting mentor. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. And so there's a few things I want to talk to you guys about today. So stick with me. Will not be a very long podcast, but it will be potent information that you're going to want to hear. So here's what I want to talk about. And I was observing this today, actually, in myself. As you know, I've got a 13-year-old daughter that does dance, and so I was taking her to get something to eat today after lunch. And I remember her telling me last night when I was bringing her home from dance that, we need to get gas. And she goes, I guess we'll have to get that on the way to dance tomorrow. I'm like, yep, we're going to have to. She's like, we drive a lot of miles. And I'm like, I know, I feel like I'm always putting gas in the car. And so when I took her to get something to eat today, I was conscious of the fuel tank, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to get gas at some point today. And I was like, my first emotion, first thought about that was like, I want to have to stop and get gas. But it's fine, whatever. Here's why I'm bringing this up. Is so often in life, we bring yesterday's mess into today. So, God, like, if I just would have stopped last night or while she was at dance, went and filled up the tank, then I would have a clean slate today. I wouldn't have to fix, so to speak, yesterday's problems today. I could have just taken care of it. It wouldn't have been a problem today. And that would have freed me up some extra time today to chill out or do whatever I want to do, right? It's not just that. It's how often do we leave things undone during the day and say, we'll do it tomorrow. And we bring all that junk from the day before into the following day. And we do this on a consistent basis. It's like constant not finishing things when we should finish them and leave them for another day to finish it up. And then it takes away that energy of that day where we don't have time to create or do what we want to do or, go out and get a freaking ice cream or whatever it is because I don't have time. I got to freaking stop and get gas or whatever it is, right? So there's a couple of things that I'm very adamant about doing in preparing and cleaning up my messes so I don't have them later. Number one, and this may seem super silly, maybe you guys do this already as a habit, but I make my bed every morning. Why? Because I want to get it, no matter how much of a shit sandwich day I've had, at least at night when I go to bed, I can climb into a freshly made bed. And that feels good. So I always make my bed in the morning when I get up. So I don't leave the mess for that night and just go, oh shit, the bed's like, especially if you're having a bad day as it is, and we all have those bad days, right? So I'm trying to always get one step ahead and be proactive and setting myself up for, I don't know, it's not success. I just set myself up for a good day. This is what I talk about when I'm talking about getting into alignment with what it is that you want in your life. There's messes you need to clean up in your life, and you're letting them just filter into the next day. And God forbid, if you're having a bad day that next day and you've got to clean up your mess from the day before, it's going to take you down. It's that bad day is going to turn into a hellish day or one of the worst days ever. So with all of that said, we're going to go back and take a little trip down memory lane. We're going to go back into your past a little bit and try to clean up some of the messes from the past that you've been carrying into every single day with you. And I want to make sure that this doesn't get carried in to every day for the rest of your life. And I talked about this. I've got a membership program, and every 3 times a month, I do a group coaching call live on Zoom. And this was one of the topics that we talked about. Number one, there's 3 things. Number one, The number one mess we've got to clean up is to stop regretting the past. Stop regretting the past. We so often try to go back into the past fix and fix our mistakes or fix someone else's mistakes. And when you realize that if you fixed every mistake, that it would erase you as a human being. If you never made a mistake, you wouldn't exist. You have to understand, everyone makes mistakes. And when we regret the things in the past or try to erase or fix mistakes we've made in the past, all that does is prevent you from moving forward because you're so fixated on I screwed up, or I'm so fixated on the trauma, or I'm so fixated on what happened in the past, and you fixate on it and you obsess over it. And it takes up all of this time and energy that you could be using to create the life that you desire with intention. There's nothing that you can do about the past. It's freaking done. The only time it ever comes back to life is when you bring it back to life in your mind, in your memory, and then your body feels like it's happening all over again, and then you have the emotions of it, and then it feels like shit. You revisit it so often, but it doesn't exist anymore. It's not happening anymore. It was an event that happened in the past. It was meant for you to grow and to learn and to notice the contrast of what you don't like so that you can make decisions on what you do like, so you can choose a different story for the future. Those things that happened to you in your past weren't meant to debilitate you. They weren't meant to paralyze you. They weren't meant to slam you down into the ground and keep you on your knees for the rest of your life. That is not the purpose of experiences that you've had in your past. There's always something to learn from, always a way to grow from it. The number two thing is stop worrying about the future. Stop worrying about what might happen, what could happen, what is probably going to happen. They did a study and they found that 85% of the things that you're worrying about never happen. It's literally wasted energy. You're worried about what if, what could happen, what might happen, and you start creating this timeline into the future, step by step, little by little, scenarios, your worst fears coming to life. You're trying to predict everything in advance. And why do we do that? So that we're simply trying to protect ourselves from being surprised. That's why we do that. That's why we're trying to predict things before they happen. So we're not surprised by them. We're not taken off guard. We're not shocked, because that feeling then becomes a reaction. We're not sure how we're going to react to it if it were to happen. So I'm going to play it out in my mind. I'm going to rehearse it over and over and over again. I'm going to create a reaction so that if and when it happens, I'm ready for it. And 85% of the things that you're worrying about, these scenarios you're creating in your mind, the stories, how you would react to it, all the things, 85% of those things never happen. Never. So stop worrying about the future. Create the future. We don't worry and react. We create. And we create from desire, and we create from a want, and we create from alignment. And we focus all of our energy on that instead of taking up space in our minds of things that will not serve us, things that were never going to happen anyway. Number two. Number three, stop depending upon people to make you happy. When you're depending upon other people for your happiness, that's too much pressure to put on them. They can't possibly provide all the happiness you need. Think about that. Think about if someone depended upon me for their happiness. Let's just say my daughter. Let's say my friends. Whoever it might be. What if everybody depended upon me for their happiness? What if every friend I ever had, or have? What about my kid? What about my clients? What about friends? Did I say friends? What if they all depended upon me for their own happiness? Do you know how heavy that would be on me? That now I'm responsible, whenever I get around anyone, to make them smile, to make them laugh, to wait on them hand and foot, to make sure that they have all of their needs met, to make sure that they're happy. That's a lot of pressure for me to handle, and I can't possibly live up to all of that. There's too many people. That's what you're doing to other people. You're putting all of that weight because you are contributing to it. You're not the only person in their life, by the way. They've got this thing is coming from all different directions, from all different people, depending on that person to make them happy. So if you wouldn't like it if someone depended upon you for their happiness, saying, you know what, if you would just do this, I would be happy. If you just act this way, I'd be happy. If you would just show me more love, I would be happy. If you would just buy me a gift every once in a while, I would be happy. How does that feel when someone puts that on you, that you're responsible for their happiness? You immediately turn around and go, dude, that's not my problem. Go out and make yourself happy. Like, why am I the one that you depend upon for that? Why is that my problem, that your happiness? We know that. And we don't like it when it's done to us. So then we turn around and do the same thing to other people in our lives. It's a double-edged sword. It's very hypocritical. And we wonder why we can never create the things we want because we're so freaking wishy-washy. You've heard the saying, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Very true in this case. Your happiness, and you've heard this and it sounds cliche, I know. Your happiness is an inside job. If you can separate and create two different identities for yourself, one who is a spiritual being and the other one who is a physical human being, if you could separate the two out and have a line drawn between the two of you, because that's really what's going on. You're two different entities, two different identities. One is spiritual, one is physical. The spiritual one is the one that's always trying to guide you, teach you, and lead you, and give you intuition, and messages, and ideas, and all the things. And the human is just the receptor of it, right? We move from that place, even if it's negative. We're still going to have these thoughts, and this is the feeling I get, and then I move in that direction as a human being, and then I get a result from it, right? If you can create a separation between the two, and if you could look at your physical human being, that you're not your body, that you have a body, and if you could look at that entity as separate and say, what can I do today to make my human happy? Now we're talking about being internal. Now we're creating our own happiness. What can I do as a spiritual being to make my human happy? If I just asked myself that question every day, what can I do today to make me happy? Well, I could go for a walk. I could go for a drive. I could call a friend. I could go get an ice cream. I could go get a candy bar. I could go run on the beach. I could take a drive. I could go shopping. I could listen to a podcast. I could watch a motivational video. I could join a class, a cooking class. I could join the gym. That doesn't sound like much fun, by the way. Just kidding. I could hire a life coach to inspire and motivate me and teach me. I could learn something new, go back to school. It doesn't need to be big things, just little things. What can I do now to make my human happy? And then do it. And then do it. Number one, stop regretting the past. Number two, stop worrying about the future. 85% of your worries never happen. Stop depending on other people to make you happy. And stop carrying yesterday's shit into today. Clean up your mess before you go to bed. Clean up your mess before the next day comes. Clean up your mess. Cleaning up your mess allows you the time, freedom to do the things that makes your human happy. Think about it. If you, before you went to bed, had washed all the dishes, taken out the garbage, folded the laundry and put it away, you'd have more time to spend with your kids the next day. You'd have more time to spend with you the next day. You'd have more time to spend with your mate the next day. You'd have more time to watch a podcast or listen to a podcast or watch a YouTube video or get inspired or sign up for that coaching program or take that cooking class. You'd actually have time of your mess for the next day. Come into the day with a nice, fresh, clean slate where you can create the day that you want to create that would make your human happy. All right. That is your podcast for today. Leave me a comment. Let me know how it works. If you guys are interested in any of my programs, my courses, my master classes, anything like that, my membership program, which is phenomenal, then you can find me on TikTok at Tami Gomez Official or Instagram or Facebook. And there are links in my bio that shows my current courses and master classes and membership program. Okay? So if you're interested and you want to work with me, you want some advice, you want some help, reach out. I'm always here to help. Or if you want to email me, you can email me at Tami at TamiGomez.com. TAMI at TamiGomez.com. And I would be more than happy to respond to your email. Okay? I love you guys. Clean up messes. Make your human happy. Stop worrying about the future. Stop regretting the past. Those simple things, if you can work on those things every day, are going to make a huge difference in your life. I love you guys. See you next week. Have a great Wednesday. See ya.